So we are going to have a very interesting panel consisting of the disaster management people from various states. So to start that panel, I will like to invite the co-chair of this panel, Dr. George E. Thomas, Professor, College of Insurance, Insurance Institute of India, to be on stage. I request Dr. George to welcome all his colleagues. So I will start with the chair of this panel, Mr. P.N. Rai, who is the IPS officer and currently member of Bihar State Disaster Management Authority. And to introduce all the panelists, I will request Professor Santosh Kumar sir to be on stage so that he can formally introduce each of them and invite them on stage.
It's a very difficult job to introduce each of the panelists because they have all done such a wonderful job in their career. But to start with, Mr. P.N. Rai is an honorable member of the Bihar State Disaster Management Authority as a COP, as he said, the senior Indian Police Service officers. But he has done a lot of work on disaster management before becoming the member of the he was also manning the whole India disaster response system in the state. Along with that, establishing IRS system in the state were the guidelines which has been issued by National Disaster Authority, bringing those forces as a special force for supporting SDRF and also that state response force. We welcome you, sir. We also take this opportunity to welcome Mr. Pradeep Jena, Principal Secretary, Additional Chief Secretary now, he is in the state, who is also CEO of the Orissa State Disaster Management Authority, very senior IS officer from the Orissa cadre. And you may like to give a big hand to the government of Orissa, which have done a splendid job in the cyclone Feni in protecting the job. Hard work and other things which they have done, and we wanted to share that experience to other states and also other stakeholders of the Feni. So NIDM has documented a Feni and it has gone to the state to Orissa for the review and everything. Soon we will be coming on the new date for that. We welcome you, sir, for here this particular workshop. Now I request Mrs. Usha Rani, again the state disaster management in the state, in the Andhra Pradesh. And when we say that we are in the morning, we were talking about drought also and the cyclone also. This is the one state which is grappling with multi-peril, which we say in the insurance terminology. We call multi-hazard, and in the insurance it's called multi-peril. So we welcome you, ma'am, for this particular session with us. And now the youngest officer in the panel from Bihar, Mr. Ramchandra Dudu, is an IS officer from the government of Bihar, is a Bihar cadre. He is taking a lot of work in this. Recently, Bihar flood was on the news, especially the Patna flood, and how they could manage. And so this particular session has been designed and for addressing various issues related to multi-peril. And in the morning session is what discussed about the drought and the agriculture crop insurance. And there are no better state which we can invite. We have government of Tamil Nadu, Mr. Rafiqullah, who is here, the Director General of the state insurance for the agriculture crop insurance. He has done a lot of work on this sector. So it is time to, this is an interface which we call interface with the government, insurance companies and reinsurance, and trying to look at and finding solutions. And important thing is that how government is looking at the state level, different state government, they are there. 5-6 states are sitting here in the panel, and they will say that all states are disaster prone. And we are talking about which kind of a, whether the parametric would do or a cat will do or something, whatever the measures which we had in the first panel and we could listen, how they will go and get integrated into this particular session. They will be throwing some questions also, and concerns also, but also they were narrating some experiences. So I wish all the audience to give a big applause to them and welcome in this particular session. And now hand it over to the Honorable Chair, Sri P. N. Raji, for this session.
Good afternoon to everybody, and I welcome my distinguished colleagues here on the dais. As you mentioned, the afternoon session is quite bad for everybody. We'll try to make it as useful to you as could be. So we are the customers here, the clients of the insurance sector over here. And I am told that the customer is the God, right? This is what we are taught also in management, probably the customer is the God. So you must listen to the customer. This is my submission. The customer must be heard, and then you can decide the solutions. Thanks a lot for that. And then this is the first time, I must confess to you, that I'm hearing about insurance and disaster sector. I have been hearing about this from my friend Santosh Kumar for a long, long time, but he was a loner in that sense. I have been working in the field for the last 12 years or so. I have also had the experience of management of a couple of serious disasters in Bihar, mainly floods, I'm saying. But I had never talked about insurance. The state governments have been mostly concerned about providing assistance in various manners, like compensation ex gratia for those who die, like Bihar is 4 lakh rupees per person, the crop assistance for the next crop, the crop is damaged, let's say in Kharif season, assistance for damage of houses. And we have been spending huge lot of money in those areas. But yes, we had not heard of insurance. And I am told that I was reading a report on Chennai floods before coming here. I read that it's 1% coverage in insurance. And that too must be in the urban areas, I'm sure. When you had floods in Patna in 2019, the main claims were coming for vehicles and some houses. But we, as I'm talking from Bihar and other states also, most disasters happen in the rural areas. The people in the villages, they are most affected. But somehow we don't have penetration there. In Bihar, let me share with you, because I think many of you are here are from the insurance sector. Let me share with you what we have been doing to kind of help the people who are impacted by the floods, which are regular feature in Bihar. My friend here is from the Department of Disaster Management, he knows it more than me. So the government of Bihar, I have compiled some data for 19 floods in Bihar, the Fani, and 17 floods in Bihar. The government of Bihar estimated a cost of restoration as per SDRF norms, I'm saying. Infrastructure was 1,978 crores in 19 floods, 3,422 in 17 floods, and 2,537 was for Fani. This is my figures. The Jana may correct me if I'm wrong. Estimate of figures for restoration infrastructure only restoration, not recovery. Then for loss of houses and livelihood and crops, Bihar floods, 833 crores we spent in 2019, and in 17, 2,000 crores. So the state governments are kind of chipping in with lot of assistance to people who suffer in terms of houses, in terms of crop assistance and all that, ex gratia also. So this is an area where the states have to come to help of the people concerned. So we have to find out as to how we find solutions. The state government, the central government, the insurance companies, you can come together and find solutions for them. In the morning session, I heard several people talking about not experiments exactly, but schemes happening in other countries. I heard Satish also talking about several solutions. We have to come together and take note of the requirements of the rural population, urban population, and then devise some solutions. So that's my introductory remarks. With that, I will now start the presentations. I would request for Mr. A.B. Rafiullah from Tamil Nadu to make his presentation.
Good afternoon to everyone. Sir, Honorable Prime Minister's this particular flagship scheme of Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana in Tamil Nadu was a grand success and it was welcomed by almost all the farmers. Our progress during last 3 years was very good and Government of India as such describes Tamil Nadu as one of the forerunners. Now you know that Tamil Nadu in a peninsular if I stand I will be more taller. Am I audible, sir, now? I'm sorry, that's why I avoided standing on this. Okay. As you know, Tamil Nadu being a peninsular area and rain shadow region, loss of life, loss of livelihood, damage of houses, crop losses, actually it is increasing. Disasters are increasing, losses are increasing. So, and we have felt the need that there should be some insurance more for household, that is coverage of accidents, loss of life, loss of livelihood, housing properties, crop losses, and losses of poultry and cattle, fisheries, public and private sector. On this basis, we actually took it seriously this particular Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. The first year itself, we got some encomium from Indian Council for Research, where they say that most of the farmers in Tamil Nadu received claims for their crop losses and that crop damage caused by drought in Tamil Nadu, and it stands as an outstanding example for other states. So this is what. Now let me go through some data to explain what exactly we have been doing all these 3 years with Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. So as far as risk financing in Tamil Nadu is concerned, I just try to go through some data for the past 10 years, where we see that under State Disaster Response Fund, 5,037 crores have been provided to the needy people who have been affected by this, and 96.02 lakh acres have been covered under SDRF. When we come to insurance for 10 years, you can see that around 2,794 crore has been given as a premium to the insurance companies. Out of this, around 2,000 crores only under PMFBY for past 3 years. For all the 7 years, it is only 700 to 800 crores. But our premium, which we have been subsidy we have been paying to the insurance companies, actually under PMFB was in a big number. That is around, so far we have paid in PMFB around 2,000 crores so far to the insurance companies. And it stands 6% of the share of the total share of the budget of the agriculture budget of the state. When we see totally for the past 10 years, under risk financing, that is State Disaster Response Fund, we have paid on 5,037 crores, and through the crop insurance premium, we have sold out around 2,794 crores. 7,831 crore have been given for the past 10 years. So just I want to make this particular data that government is very serious on risk financing and risk transfer and all these activities. We are very serious and we are attending to it. Now the next slide is about Fasal Bima Yojana. Exclusively this is for Fasal Bima Yojana. See, earlier National Agriculture Insurance Scheme, NAIS was there. There the enrollment used to be around 8 to 9 lakhs. That used to be. Now under Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, in the first year itself we were able to enroll around 18.73 lakhs. almost more than 100% increase. It is because of the important role played by the Department of Agriculture in enrollment. So this has increased in 18-19, it went up to 25 lakhs. That is almost 300% more than the earlier scheme. And here in Tamil Nadu, what is the speciality is, as per Government of India's recommendation, we have been encouraging the non-loany farmers, the tenant farmers, sharecroppers, and we stand first in India in enrolling more number of non-loany farmers. You can just see the figures here. 77% of the total enrolled farmers in 16-17 itself were non-loany farmers, whereas all India average was 24%. So we maintain it still in this current year also. So far we have enrolled around 78% of the non-loany farmers, landless farmers. See, most of the lands, actually absentee landlord are actually doing the agriculture. So only the coolies who are working under the owners were now taking up the agriculture. They are investing for the inputs and they are doing it. Now we have taken care of them. Whatever the losses they have incurred, we have tried to help them out with the crop insurance. So these non-loany farmers actually encourage the development of the non-loany coolie farmers of the villages. It's very important, sir. And another thing is performance under PMFBY. So just I try to compare we have notified certain crops, not all the crops. Those crops where we had the crop cutting experiment data for the historical yield data for past 10 years. We are still trying to increase this particular number of crops. So the number of crops when compared to other states is less. So I have just taken the area that has been covered under the notified crops and work out the percentage of the insurance area covered under insurance. In 16-17 itself, Government of India fixed a target of 50%, but we were able to achieve around 41%. 17-18 was a good year. Rainfall was normal, so it fell down to 31%. Again, 18-19 it picked up to 36%. 19-20 now the crop, it's a very good year. I hope claims will not be more there in 19-20. Rainfall was actually normal rainfall was there, but still we were able to enroll bring under 33% of the area under insurance. And another is release of compensation. 16-17 we were able to get that was a drought and a very bad year, where we actually had around 50%, 60% of 50% non-sown area. Farmers were not able to take sowing even in 40 to 50% of the area. So that was such a drought year we never had for past 100 years. So here crop insurance scheme has come as gave a hand-holding support to the farmers, and we were able to get a compensation from the insurance companies to the tune of 3,610 crores. When you see all the earlier years, 12, 13, 13, 14, under the nice earlier scheme, all put together, you will have some 2,000 crores, less than 2,000 crores. But here in Fasal Bima Yojana, so far in these 3 years, 19-20 is yet to come, 18-19 still 600 crores is pending with the insurance companies, but still we were able to class around 7,618 crore. So it is really, this particular scheme was really useful. And when you see the number of beneficiaries on the other side, 12.99 lakh farmers were benefited in 16-17 and 10.34 lakhs in 17-18 and 18-19, 30. So number of percentage, around 68-70% of the farmers enrolled were benefited by this scheme. So this Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana scheme, the way we implemented was really useful to the farmers. Now, Government of India published the data in 16-17, Tamil Nadu farmers got the maximum compensation when compared to other states in the nation. Likewise, in 17-18 also, we stood around, our farmers got around, we stood fifth in the nation in getting compensation. This figure, 1,600 crore has increased to 1,970 crores. Now, the figure is 1,970 crores so far they have received for 17-18. So again, on share of premium subsidy and premium claim ratio, I just want to show you some. In noise, in the earlier scheme, it was less than 1 for premium claim ratio, 1 is to 0.94. But 16-17, it was a good year for the farmers, maybe a bad year for the insurers, 1 is to 2.9. And 17-18, it was 1 is to 1.4 premium claim ratio. 18-19, it was 1 is to 1.3. But still, in 18, the insurers and reinsurers did not fear about Tamil Nadu on seeing this figure. But in 19-20, it is going to be less than 1, and crop is very good, and the payout are going to be very less. But during the necessity, actually this insurance scheme has come as a hand-holding support to the farmers. Now the premium claim ratio in comparison to other states. In fact, our state, had a highest premium claim ratio in 16-17 and in 17-18 also. 18-19 still 600 more has to come, and it has not been calculated so far. In comparison of farmers benefited, I told you, 69% of the farmers enrolled in the state were benefited by PMABY during 16-17 and 17-18 also 68%. This figure is going to be, has so far crossed 50% in 18-19, still to finalize. So around, I believe that more than 60% of the farmers enrolled during 18-19 will also be benefited in this scheme. Now challenges now, what is being faced now. In enrollment, complete Department of Agriculture is involved in enrollment. But there is a procedure that insurance companies should have an agent at the block level, should have a functional office. Thus, they are not established. So they are not at all. To certain extent, 1 or 2 companies are extending, but major companies, majority of the companies, they do not extend a helping hand to state government in enrollment. They have got Government of India fixed a guideline that 0.25% of the subsidy received by them, premium subsidy received by them, they should spend on this particular enrollment campaigns and publicity, which they are not doing. That is the real problem with us. Since we are enrolling, when the compensation the farmers are not getting, they are coming and asking us, questioning us. The insurance companies should also come to the field and work with them. Only then they will know the difficulties of the state government. Then dearth of funds, of course, we have been doing it. The company should also share more funds for this particular. Then non-functioning of CSCs. The CSCs are really making, CSCs in a big way are doing non-enrolling enrollment, but CSCs are making big mistakes in enrollment. They change the name of the villages while they enter. They enter the name of the residential address than the address of the village, where a farmer is growing the crop. So these things, at the time of compensation, insurance companies refuse to settle it, but it makes very difficult for us. And there is a big problem with the portal, Government of India portal and CC mobile app. CC mobile app is not working properly. I request Government of India to concentrate more on that and improve that, only then PMOB can be more successful. The yield conversion factors. Some of the companies take a wrong figure in yield conversion factors, and instead of taking, when we giving historical yield in rice, they take the actual yield of paddy and calculate. So farmers will not get any compensation. So at that time, GSC actually came to our help, and they helped us in getting the correct conversion. So these are some of the mistakes insurance companies are doing, and inadvertent error in posting yield. This is Department of Economic Statistics. They actually make some mistakes in posting the yield. That also has caused a lot of difficulties in our implementation. Then I'll go through fastly the way forward. See, in Tamil Nadu, say that why we are forerunner. We have exclusively set up a cell at state level and district level. I am an officer only responsible for crop insurance in the state. So we have an exclusive, and I have 2 assistant directors and agriculture officers under me at state level. In each district level, you have assistant directors and agriculture officers exclusively looking out for the crop insurance. So anything easily
can you have time
yes,
please?
yes sir. So this is something like then publicity and awareness. See, we have created a lot of publicities also through papers and mass media, and these are some of the things we have done it. We have got a separate app Ujjavan app, separate app with us, which is very useful to the farmers. They can just click on where, what they can insure, how much the premium they have to pay, and all these things they can do of them. And they can know whether their application is approved, they are getting the insurance compensation for that also, they can see it from there. See, it is the only state in India where we have asked the insurance companies to sign an agreement with us. In case of any dispute in compensation, they can straight away go to the remote sensing. We have got in Tamil Nadu Agriculture University a separate remote sensing center. So for maize, paddy and cotton, we have signed with them. Any dispute, insurance can be free enough to go to the remote sensing and get a data. Based on that, we can settle the disputes. So Sir has said that I don't have time. So this is the sanctioned premium subsidy we have been sanctioning. Sir, my request here is that since we have linked the scale of finance with sum insured, the share of premium the state has to give has become increasing like 15% every year. From 566 it has gone to 737 crores, that is around, and this year it is going to be 850 crores. Almost 50% of what we have given, it is increasing. Of course the farmers are getting benefited, but state cannot accept this particular burden on a state exchequer. So increasing clusters, so these are some of the things I will go through fast. So we have many lessons we have learned from, I don't have time, but these are very minute things. If anyone interested, they can go through my things. Each and everything we have gone through it, and there was a difference in claim calculation. Sincerely saying that whatever the company it may be, when they are doing insurance with us, we have officers, we sit down and do underwriting for all the companies. You do underwriting for your company, but whatever the company participating, an implementing agency, we do underwriting. You cannot leave a village, you cannot leave a single farmer in Tamil Nadu without getting compensation. So that we do, and we share our calculation with the insurance company. So there we stand, and there we were able to succeed. And some of the suggestions we have been given to Government of India, and this is the last slide, sir. Because of our implementation, Government of Tamil Nadu bag Honorable Chief Minister Award for best practices. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It looks like a successful story. You recommend to other states? Sure. That's good. So, apparently, a scheme will work when the government comes into it, isn't it? That's right. The government comes into it. Yeah. But what about the insurance companies and the customer? No government in between. That's for something to think about. I'll request Pradeep Jaina, he's a very experienced officer in disaster management in Odisha, to say his
Good afternoon. In fact, first I should thank NIDM and III for organizing this conference and giving us the opportunity to learn a lot regarding risk transfer in disaster management. In fact, the first session of today's morning, we have got to know about what is working in what circumstances and whether similar products or similar things can work in our country. And as I was telling in the morning as part of one question, in India we have not yet given any thought to risk transfer mechanism in disaster management. I am coming from a state which is, in fact, Odisha is the most disaster-prone state in the country. And in last 20 years, we have seen 7 major cyclones, including the most severe cyclonic storm India has ever seen, that is 1999 super cyclone. And then we have seen 6 droughts and 7 floods. 7 floods, 6 droughts and 7 cyclones in last 20 years. 1999 super cyclone we lost about 10,000 people, about 40 lakh animals and birds. And then in last 6 years, between 2013 to 2019, we have seen again 5 cyclones. 2013 October we got Phylin, which is a very severe cyclonic storm. 2014 on the just anniversary day of 2013 cyclone, we were hit by hudud. In fact, Andhra Pradesh was battered, but 4 of our districts were also severely impacted. Then almost 364 days thereafter, one day before the anniversary, we got one more cyclone that affected Orissa mostly and parts of Andhra Pradesh, that is Titli. And last year, all of it must be fresh in everybody's memory, that 2019 May 3rd, we had the cyclone Fani, and we had a very severe damage in the state. And 5 months of that cyclone, we again faced another cyclone, that is Bulbul, where West Bengal and Bangladesh got severely damaged, impacted, but 4 of our districts also had a lot of damages. So this is, as in the morning we are discussing, it is not only the number of disasters, climate-induced disasters are increasing in number, but their intensity is also increasing. Both frequency and intensity, both are increasing, and therefore the damages. And in the meanwhile, what is happening year after year, both central and state governments are doing a lot of development works, so a lot of damages also take place. The quantum of damages that we had seen in 99 super cyclone, if we compare the present damages of Fani, it's almost 10 times of what we had lost in 1999. So climate-induced disasters, particularly Odisha, is one of the major affected states. And very interestingly, I don't know if anybody has read some news articles, that the largest number of lightning strikes in the world has happened in Odisha last year. 1.2 billion lightning strikes happened in Odisha, which was followed by second example is second to Odisha was Mexico. So we are a highly disaster prone state, and I would like to take 5 minutes to tell what we have done. 10,000 people died, 40 lakh animals and birds lost, and half of the Odisha was devastated. It was a serious livelihoods issue for the people. And since then, from 99 to 10,000 deaths, now 2019 in Fani we lost about less than 40 human beings. And last 5 cyclones, we have never, our human casualty figure has never exceeded 50. So how could we reduce human loss of 10,000 to less than 50? This is a long journey, and we as a state learned from 1999 super cyclone, and as many of you may be knowing, after 99 super cyclone, we were the first state to constitute State Disaster Management Authority. Of course, with the help of World Bank and others, with their guidance and support, we started constituting the first disaster management authority in the country. And few years after, we are the first state to constitute a disaster response force, Odisha Disaster Rapid Action Force. Later on, Government of India came up with National Disaster Management Act and the authority. They had the National Disaster Response Force, but we are the first. And we have invested very heavily, not only in creating this institutional setup, also building the capacity of the communities. Between 2002 and 2009, we have developed village disaster management plans in more than 23,600 villages, and we have trained about 100,000 volunteers in search and rescue, and similar number on first aid and psychosocial counseling. So about 1.5 lakh volunteers in the field. You have a strong institutional setup, and we have used technology, early warning dissemination technology very effectively. And along with that, we have built our shelter capacity. about 1,000 multi-purpose cyclone and flood shelters we have constructed all along the coast, and that is why during the last May cyclone, this Phani, we could evacuate 1.5 million people in less than 48 hours to safe shelters. So 4 things we have done. One is we have built a good institutional framework. We have created good early warning dissemination system. We have built good community capacities, and simultaneously we have also invested quite a bit of amount on creating infrastructure addressing to the response aspects. So in response, we are one of the, rather we are the best state when it comes to responding to any disaster situation. But today we are here talking about not the response phase, but about the mitigation aspect. I will give the example of this May cyclone. This is a document which we had produced with the help of World Bank, ADB, and United Nations. That is the post-disaster damage, loss and needs assessment document. This is the second structured disaster loss, damage and loss needs assessment exercise done in the country after Kerala floods. That was the first time very structured assessment was done, and Odisha is the second case where a structured disaster loss and damage assessment was done. And in this document, we have shown that 28,000 crores of damages have happened in the state, and how much we have given? From the State Disaster Response Fund in SDRF as well as from NDRF, this time we are very grateful that Government of India gave us almost 3,400 crore rupees from the National Disaster Response Fund. So put together we spent somewhere around 5,000 crore. That is, most of it is basically as per the state disaster NDRF and SDRF norms. When I say norms, I will give you one example. The Energy Department lost 2,58,000 electricity poles this time, 60,000 kilometers of lines. The damage somewhere is estimated to be about 14,000 crores plus. How much have we given to them? We have only given to them 728 crore, because that is as per the norm. What is the norm? Norm is 1.5 lakh for every kilometer of sub-transmission line. Super transmission lines are not supposed to be assisted. So housing, private loss, we are not almost paying. Only as house building assistance, if somebody's house is fully collapsed, fully damaged or very severely damaged, we give 95,000 rupees, and if it is partially damaged, we give 3,200 rupees. But reconstructing the house would require huge amount of money. So what is important is that it is, so far we are only giving a very little meager assistance to the people, and we don't get any fund for reconstructing our public assets. For reconstructing a public asset like school, the scale of assistance is only 2 lakh. For an Anganwadi center, 2 lakh. And if a entire building has collapsed, with 2 lakh, what can you do? So there is a need for mobilizing lot more resources, and that is where the state government from their budget as well as from external assistance, we try to mobilize resources. But then it is not always possible. Therefore, this risk insurance becomes a very important topic, but then there are issues with us. We have seen an excellent presentation by Tamil Nadu where Fasal Bima Yojana has succeeded. But then there are many states where Fasal Bima Yojana has not succeeded, and as Chairman Bihar, Honorable Chairman Bihar State Disaster Management Authority was telling, that it is a big failure in Bihar. So in many states it has failed. Why it has failed? It is not a forum to cast aspersion against each other. There are mistakes on our part. As government, we don't have quality data, reliable data, and at the same time, at the other end, on flimsy grounds, a lot of things get rejected. So appreciating each other, appreciation is not there. Then, now of course, health insurance, this Ayushman Bharat is very, only 1-2 years old, so we don't know whether it has succeeded or not. But apparent indications are that it is going to succeed. So hopefully we have one case mixed experience. Ayushman Bharat we don't know, but there are certain issues why governments don't consider
Pradeep,
ensuring that.
Pradeep.
Another 1 minute. Sir.
Okay, all right.
Why we don't? The issue is, suppose in Odisha I want to ensure my energy installations. I have 1 lakh crore of infrastructure. If 1% is the premium that I pay, I have to annually pay 1,000 crore. So what do we do? In every 3rd year, 4th year or 5th year, maybe in 10 years, I spend 2,000 crore. So what is we should be, as government, we should be extremely careful about understanding how much of cost we are paying vis-a-vis how much of money we can get. So this is one of the reasons. The other is, there is absolutely no understanding and no clarity about insurance products in disaster sector. Therefore, we would request that today's forum has been very good. Maybe we can further interact to understand what has happened in Kerala, how it worked and why it worked, or in Sri Lanka, and maybe those learnings, if we can try on a pilot basis in few places, possibly that would help us streamlining or taking it further into various other states. So hopefully NDMA, NIDM and few states together can start looking at a pilot project. There, lot of proactive action is required from Government of India, from the states as well as from the insurance companies. That is what I would request for. Thank you.
Thank you, Pradeep. He spoke about the vulnerability of Odisha and the action taken by state government. I must tell you that Odisha is one of the best managed states in disaster management. And I fully agree with you, Pradeep, that the situation is getting back to worse. It will become more challenging with climate change and other things. Now we have my young friend from Bihar, Mr. Ramchandru, will talk about the developments in Bihar. Now the instructions to me are that we need to finish by 2:40, so the next two speakers will kindly take note of that.
Good afternoon to all. Because of lack of time, I will conclude within 3 or 4 minutes only. Basically, I will focus on challenges. Generally, I will tell you from common man's perspective. Generally, we will hear about life insurance, health insurance and vehicle insurance, but never disaster risk insurance. So creating awareness about this issue is a big challenge. As our sir said earlier, actually this is a new concept. We are actually about to burn. Then only will actually crawl, sit, run and will go far away. So that is a big challenge. Another thing is actually if we don't have comprehensive data, because many states like Bihar, we are prone to various kinds of disasters. But still now also we don't have proper data regarding many aspects. We do have information about flood prone areas because we have flood hazard atlas and all, but comprehensive data, what are the damages and what are the various aspects of insurance coverage and all. So that data, comprehensive data is another big challenge. Third challenge is actually regarding Bihar. 90% of people are staying in rural areas, or 50%, above 50% are illiterates. They don't have any knowledge about these insurance schemes and all. As a educated persons, sometimes we also forget about paying premium in time. After expiry of our vehicles insurance, only we will realize and we will pay and all. So illiterates and majority of them staying in rural areas. So creating awareness and telling them about this disaster risk insurance, it is a very, very big challenge. And fifth point is actually implementation. How will you implement it? That is a big challenge. In the implementation process, this instructions, making simple procedures also very challenging task. As we already seen this life insurance, vehicle insurance and all, we never read the terms and conditions of the insurance policy. So making simple procedures related to this disaster risk insurance, it is a big challenge. So these are main challenges. I would like to conclude my part by telling that we have to discuss these challenges in this emerging area, disaster risk insurance area. We have to consult various stakeholders like administrators, common people, insurance agencies and all. We have to see the norms also. Generally, we will get, as per the SDRF norms, NDRF norms, we will get fund only for immediate restoration purpose only. Our total annual budget is for Bihar, for instance, for 2019-20 is around 570 crore only. If we take the example of Tamil Nadu crop insurance policy, they are paying 737 crores per year as an insurance premium. So how will we cope up this financial aspect? It is also very big challenge. So I request all the audience and speakers to think in those lines so that we will have clear idea to go forward. Thank you, sir, for giving this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. In the morning, I heard about catastrophic events by insurance officials. But we in Bihar, Odisha and Assam, we face floods every year. I wonder whether this is a catastrophe or this is a disaster or not. We believe that it's a disaster for us. Every year we face it. So we have to take care of the, the annual events that happen in Bihar and Odisha and Assam, etc. Now we have the last speaker, Mrs. Usha Rani, Secretary Revenue, Andhra Pradesh. May I request you, please?
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Most respected Chair, Vice Chair, and esteemed colleagues. So I come from Andhra Pradesh. The vision, we have a vision to transform Andhra Pradesh. Is it? I think presentation. Yes. So our vision is to transform Andhra Pradesh into a most disaster resilient Andhra Pradesh to technocentric, inclusive, innovative and multi-hazard risk reduction strategy. So we got a vision, because why we got this vision is, apart from Orissa, I think Andhra Pradesh is most prone to natural disasters. So we have experienced as many as 79 cyclones between 1891 to 2018, and floods and drought. Name any disaster, it is, Andhra Pradesh is prone. Almost like 40% of our people, no, actually 50% of the people, we have 50 million people and 29 million people are prone, and out of that 40% of them are poor, living below poverty line. So this is day in, day out, we have to live with the disasters. And if I estimate what has happened last 4 or 5 years, between 2014 and 2019, since morning many speakers were talking about Hudhud cyclone, Titli cyclone, many floods and so on. So our estimated loss, which is on very, very low side, because normally people estimate, the government officials estimate in a very, in a low scale, because we will be paying very little money to the people. So our estimated loss is more than 42,000 crores. So this is such a great loss to the state. And I need not tell whatever government of India is giving, and over and above state government is also giving. But whatever we are giving is very, very nominal when we compare to the actual loss. Okay, I need not show these figures. So I would like to quote some of the best practices. Yes, since morning we are saying, government, central government has to do, state government has to do. But we have some of the best practices where people themselves help. The self-help groups of Andhra Pradesh, they have made a history. So they save some money, and within that money there is an insurance coverage also. So these are some of the locally developed insurance kind of products they have done. They save some money, and if anyone dies in the group, any disaster happens, the group itself will pay 25,000 like that. And India culturally also, we are in the habit of saving. Why we are in the habit of saving? Because we come from a country where too many disasters happen. That is why we keep saving. I think this is where the insurance companies can really build on. So our insurance, if it is linked with the saving, then there will be very good coverage by people. People also will come forward. And in fact, this is another best practice. It is called Abhayhastam Velugu Co-Contributory Insurance and Pension. So in this 365 rupees is paid by the woman, and 365 rupees is contributed by the government. And lot of benefits are there as a part of this scheme. And we also have community managed micro insurance. It is called Indira Jeevita Bima Padakam. It includes some educational elements also. Again, these funds are managed by the community. But as earlier speakers have mentioned, there is so much of gap. Actually, people are losing a lot. Nobody has estimated what is that a farmer or an ordinary individual is losing. His life is at risk, his house is at risk, crop is at risk, animals are at risk, and there are many, many things. Psychological risks also, which are there with the disasters. So I think, but nowhere now we are able to cover even a part of the risk. So what is that the Andhra Pradesh government is planning is disaster financial risk mitigation plan we want to develop. We have established at every village secretariat, wherein there is a volunteer for every 50 houses. So they will prepare the asset, what kind of assets are subjected to disaster. And based on that, we would like to establish a kind of fund so that the calamities are really taken care. So this fund will be dependent upon the kind of, the data we are going to generate. And after that, we would like to work with some private partner also, how to prepare this plan, and how, whether some budget has to come from the state, how people are to be motivated, will they pay some insurance premium, then whether we have to work with a private insurance company. This is what we are actually working. This is the plan we have got. So the final objective of government of Andhra Pradesh is number one, any program, if it is to be successful, there should be 100% participation from the people. Today people are not interested to pay premium because the premiums are very high. The private insurance company people say they are in loss, unless they collect lot of premium, they can't cover the crops or animals. But if you imagine many people become members, automatically the premiums will reduce. So large number of people are to be covered in any scheme to make it insurance very viable. Then right now country has got uniform premium, entire country. For example, even Fasal Bima Yojana, the cost of cultivation will vary from state to state. That is why these schemes are successful in some states, not successful in other states. So local schemes are need of the private insurance companies have to really work out some locally good schemes, locally suitable schemes, depending upon the culture, the attitude of the people. Then certain percent of budget, if it is allocated from every state towards the disaster fund every year. So in a good year, that will be saving from the state. In a bad year, it will be useful. And similarly, central government can also contribute certain percentage of their budget and allocate to different states. Right now, it is all only fixed amount. Then the savings linked insurance is the need of the hour. So people are habituated to save, but if along with the saving, So if there are some incentives for the vulnerable group, like, you pay them higher interest rate, then they are encouraged to save little bit amount towards the insurance. I think that is going to be a very good thing. Ultimately, I think whatever the financial crisis, every year some 600 million people are becoming poor due to the natural calamities. In the long run, how can you empower these people? How can you encourage them to save for future? How can you make them as a partner in the whole process of decision making? How can we involve them in the policy decisions? And how the private people who will be more efficient, more dynamic, can come up with a variety of products which will suit the local needs. I think that is going to really decide the real insurance success in our country. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have 5 minutes left for this session here, so we can take at best one question. Only one hand also raised, so you want one question? Okay, the gentleman over there in the back side. Please mention whom you want to address the question to. Please give him a mic. Can you just say loudly? Thank you very much. Are you from Bihari? Are you Bihari? All right. Okay.
Save the human life with better predictions and early warning systems. But as far as the loss of the property is concerned, we can also manage the process through the Science and Technology Management Plan. Of course, the NDMA is also opening the cells in all the ministries. Let me also congratulate the AP Rafiqullah Sahab, what he made. The one is the success story in Tamil Nadu and failure in the many of the states in the Fasal Bima Yojana. This is the one I have very recently to Agriculture University and discussing one of many of the professor and vice chancellor. There are a particular division, remote sensing and GIS. They are doing the cropping and they have purchased drone also. Now there are lot many things, advancement in the technology as well as science. So that thing should be taken care. Like Bihar, you are facing the regular problem of the flood. 1 year after, there are many IITs and universities are working in the field of flood management, but people are working in the silos. All the records are not being compiled at one place. That is the major problem. If Science and Technology Management Plan could be there, like bike software, simulation and all these things. But important is the data set. Everybody is talking about the data. We have had many premier data generating agencies, but working on different standard, different scale, different currency, and they are not interoperable to each other. And updation of data set is also a very big problem. But we know why these floods are coming. What are the rainfall systems? Put it together at different places. How much rain should come? These things, all these things, what I mean to say, may be addressed with the proper S&T management plan. Like Odisha, Pradeep Jana Sahab said after Kerala, they have structured damage assessment mapping. Many of the insurance companies talking since morning many of the things. But why they not follow what Santosh has made mention? Why not they have a consortium and work together? There should be one, like DST has did NDSAP, National Data Sharing and Accessibility Policy 2012, but how many people are following it? All the data set should be placed at data.gov.in and seen by everybody, but policy doesn't have a teeth. Act may have. Like these things should be addressed. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much.
say something? Our co-chair, co-chair would like to say. Yeah.
Yeah, only a couple of things I wanted to amplify as part of the panel. One is about the work which SERP is doing in Andhra Pradesh. Maybe you mentioned about self-help groups. So maybe you could, anyway, there's paucity of time. Otherwise, I mean, I could have asked you to talk more about that. The SERP is actually the Society for the Elimination of Rural Poverty, about which she made a mention when she said about self-help groups. They work very close. I mean, they are something like a government-created NGO, which works very closely with the government and about communities and about building resilient communities. This is a model which people could think of, and they are working very closely for the insurance on insurance principles. And many of the success stories which Madam could talk from Andhra Pradesh are actually coming in from from SERP. Am I right? Yeah. So this is something which I wanted to make. Yeah. So, yes, entire thing is coming in from that concept of a government-run NGO. This is something which we could think of. The second thing, again, Madam, you talked about savings-linked insurance. Usually, we talk about savings-linked insurance when it comes to life insurance. So, savings-linked insurance for property is something which maybe it's a new thought here, which people could think of working upon. We haven't. The insurance industry hasn't really taken it much seriously so far. How far savings can be linked and to property insurance.
My idea is that, supposing you take a typical example of farmer, is getting income from agriculture, animal husbandry, etc. You can save in a normal year little bit, we can encourage, the banks can encourage, and some insurance can go out of the savings. Or you offer some better interest rate for these vulnerable groups, so that, in the long run, they'll be resilient. They'll just not depend only on government. The empowerment, sustenance will come in that way.
And just one more word about what came in from the crop insurance as well as from Bihar state. The thing is that we come in, and even from Orissa, we feel that there's a big wish list, because these are the people who are actually feeling the heat on the field when the disasters when disasters come. So if there was insurance support, if there was more money, they all have their successes, but they could have been tremendously more successful. That is what is one thing which comes out from everybody. And also one more thing is that for working more successfully, they need good concrete data. I think there is one common thread which I am seeing from everybody. So thank you very much. Because we don't have much more time before concluding, we have got another panel.
Thank you, panel. And to offer a token of appreciation, I will like to invite Director, College of Insurance, Mr. Arindam Mukherjee on stage. To Mr. P.N. Rai, sir. To Mrs. Usha Rani. To Mr. Pradeep Jaina. To Mr. Ramachandra Du. To Mr. Rafiullah. Thank you, panelists. I will request all of you to stand for a group photograph.